Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that ye have but a short time. Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great most honorable well, and shalom to all the brothers doing the work of sharing truth. Yeah, Esau's pushing this thing through, man. He's bro, he's at the door, man. He's really looking to get this thing in. It's basically, as far as it's kind of different for like Europe, and like Australia and New Zealand, those parts of the so-called Western world, because the way they're kind of it's somewhat easier for certain segments to push these things through. That's why you have like Scandinavian countries where these guys are already getting that charagma, and then you have like certain people within the UK, within France, within different parts, especially Eastern Europe, that kind of rebelling a bit more. But you also have what's it called? A lot of people folding over. A lot of people like, oh, just comply, and that's why it's like, yeah, it's basically become very polarized. Like it's either one extreme or the other. People are fully down and complying with the beast system, or they're resisting. So this is on RT. It says what? Compulsory CMAX set to be imposed in first EU country. And it says, well, after Austria's parliament approves a measure, it only expects the president's signature. On Thursday, Austria's compulsory vaccination bill has cleared its last parliamentary hurdle on its way to becoming a law. The parliament's upper house, the Federal Council, has voted 47 to 12 in favour of the legislation. The right-wing Freedom Party was virtually the only one opposing the initiative. The bill is now expected to be signed by the Austrian President, Alexander Van der Bellen, and finally come into force in the next few days, possibly as early as on Saturday, according to the Austrian media. The legislation passed by the lower house on January 20th was initially expected to come into force on February 1st. It would require every Austrian adult, except pregnant women or those exempt from medical reasons, to get the jab against C19. Those refusing to do so might face financial penalties, with maximum fines amounting to 3,600 euros. So you're getting slapped with them fines. Just like, and it's funny because that was basically built up during like the lockdown, where it was like, hey, look, you're not complying, they'll just be like slapping them fat fines. And it says, well, however, little will change for Austrians until mid-March, since all citizens will be first informed about the measure through letters sent by the authorities. The Austrian law enforcement will be demanding max certificates during routine checks starting from March 16th. So yes, it's there, that first one. And as the first one, you're going to see, especially with Europe, it can easily become a wave. So I think like Paris, France might be like the next most likely. But we'll have to wait and see how it shakes down, because Paris is them guys are kind of wild anyway. Them men have been have been out protesting non-stop, like even bruv, man were out for like a year plus before the lockdown, just protesting every fucking week. And then even after, like before the lockdown was even over, then when them man was still having to like get roundhouse kicked by cops and getting hosed and whatnot, them man were out there. So them guys are hella resistant. They've got that what's it called, French Revolution spirit. That French Revolution spirit on them, man. So they're not really gonna bend to it as easily, but we'll have to see how it ends up shaking down, because it can easily it can work out. We'll have to see, because she can be pushed through. So it says what however little will change. Okay, yeah. So it says if a person fails to present a valid certificate, the police will report them to the authorities, which I find kind of wild because like police are the ones reporting you to higher authorities than them. So it's like they're gonna have that's like the full force of the system, being slammed on top of you. Uh, four such administrative proceedings per calendar year may result in a fine. But then present a valid. So if them man just pull you up, I don't even know if it's gonna be like man can just pull you up. Well, so it says according to the Austrian OE24 newspaper, the bill also envisages the so-called third phase that can be ordered by health minister depending on the pandemic situation. As part of this phase, all Austrians that would not be yabbed at a certain date would know with and would have no valid exemption reasons would automatically be slapped with fines at least twice a year. Fuck you know. So yeah, just so they would they'll just be like, yo, until you're getting it, then you just being roundhouse kicked with fines back to back. So as the bill would also empower authorities to keep a database of every citizen's status, which and that's how you know it's the it's laying groundwork, because that's all leading to that charagma, because like the um systematic side, the technology side basically is where you're seeing where you're seeing the most, that technology side, because it's more or less been with the pandemic as it's progressed. It's more and more. It's like America seems to be the most behind with it because they're still fucking with like paper flyers, and that's why they've kind of got a different kind of push. But here in Europe, it's like most places they've got like enough of a backbone uh, within their systems to be able to set up like databases to have these things electronically linked. Even if they're working like barely working like with track and trace and whatnot, but they have it there to kind of get mindsets of the people and to kind of have laid it out to where they kind of just build upon that as a skeleton, and that's what you see, because it's kind of like with these certificates, it's tracking a bunch of it's a few separate things kind of being on there, and they'll just be like, okay, look, rather than having to separately update, then you can just link up this thing with this thing. So it says the bill also so it says such. Okay, so how to keep a database, and the expiry date of said status. Man said the expiry date, so yeah, you're gonna have to be getting boosted up, non-stop. That's what they've gone with it basically. The legislation is to remain in place until 2024, and this is the thing is with so it's meant to be what, like 2 years with what the fuck is that called, man, in the US? The Patriot Act. Patriot Act was what, 2001? It was like, it would have been like early 2001. I say early, late 2001. And then with that, let me just triple check. Cause yeah, the shit was put through. Well, it was brought in what, on October 26th. And how long was that shipment to last first time? Yeah, so it was meant to expire in 2005, at the end of 2005. That was meant to last 4 years. Uh, yeah, that shit was meant to end in 2005, which is funny as hell. Funny as hell. Cause yeah, bruv. But that's you know, if Esau gets he gets a footing, if he's not gonna, yeah, he ain't gonna let it go. That's why it's with everything that's happened through the pandemic. It's like it's been blended into normality. It's become, that's the term, the new normal. It's basically just what people have accepted. You know, people are still wearing masks. People are still you know, social distancing, all these kinds of things. These kinds of things have just been seared into people's minds. Like on trains, you will have people like on trains, they'll sit somewhere and then they'll just have like a bag on both sides on the seats beside them because they don't want people to sit next to them. You tell them like, yo, can you move your bag so I can sit the fuck down? And then they'll start getting into a huff. I was getting into a fucking elevator, um, with my bike, and there was enough room for two people. It was like a couple with their baby buggy, and then it was just like, I was like, I was like, why is this mum not moving the fuck out of the way so I can get in? And I was like, yeah, sorry, can I get in? And she was like, oh no, sorry, no, we don't want to share. And then I was about to, if I didn't have my bike, I would have just been like, like move the fuck out of the way. But I was like, I can't be, I was like, let me not fucking kick up a fuss. Uh, you know, on my bike there, it's too long. But that's you know how people are. They're fucking you know, paranoid. Especially it's mainly the women, man. The women have been the main ones that have been gotten. It's like a lot of people that you spoke to at the start of the pandemic. They kind of were more chill. They were kind of more just like oh yeah, you know, it's ain't too big a deal. But it's like, as a lot of them, it's kind of through their woman. I have a hand in them because I noticed a few of them. It's like the woman kind of, or someone near them, close by them, got sick. Then they kind of just been like, okay, they've jumped on every recourse because they kind of been like, oh, you know, they got shooked up by their woman. So it says Vienna first proposed compulsory vaccination back in November 2021, when Austria had a rate below Europe's average. Since then, the situation has changed, and over 75% of Austrians received at least one dose. And said even half of them got, more than half of them got a booster. I'm like, bro, that's the thing. It's like, bro, on a massive scale, a lot of people are fucking just complying, man. It's kind of, it's really like a lot, like the majority of people are gonna be down with it. It's like there's a small number that are resistant, and they're the ones where, you know, Esau's gonna come down with that great wrath. It's gonna, there's gonna be, you know, things are gonna go down, things are gonna transpire to where with the Karagma, these guys are gonna jump on it, man. And there's kind of a lot of these different scenarios are kind of just showcasing like, okay, who's resistant, who's uh you know, who are the ones they need to concentrate on, man. And hey, first one, man. But yeah, yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Yabashim Shabashim Kakadash. Shalom.